and I'd like to welcome you all to today's webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. I'd like to now hand things off to recruiting and corporate hiring consultant, Mr. Gary O'Neill. Gary, you now have the floor.
Kelly, thank you so much. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Leveraging LinkedIn. It is a Friday, and I hope you're in a good mood. I certainly am. And in the next couple of hours, I'm going to share with you everything that I possibly can about how to leverage this tool called LinkedIn. Just to kind of set the stage for how important that is. I've been in or around about 15,000 hires at this point in time. I run a recruiting team right now that does work for about 150 different companies each year. And at least 95% of all hiring that my team is involved in. And I can say the same about the majority of the other professional recruiters who I work with, begin and end with this tool called LinkedIn. We don't post jobs so much. In fact, it's rare that my team does. And the people who get hired in the organizations we work with on my team are almost exclusively people who we find, reach out to, connect to, and who connect with us over LinkedIn. So that's how important this particular tool is to people these days with respect to making a better career move, finding job opportunities, connecting with people and recruiters and hiring managers, and just making stuff happen. So I can't overemphasize how important it is to really understand some things with respect to LinkedIn. Now, the great news that I have for you in that regard is that most people don't have a clue how recruiters and all use this tool. And most people don't really have much of a clue as to how it all really works. So the reason why that's good news is because when you do understand how it works, it's really, really, really easy to dramatically change the results that you get. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'd really like to start out with just a couple of notions. One is that there's really two sides to the coin of LinkedIn. One side of the coin is being easy to be found. And the reason why that's important is I have a team of recruiters right now today who are working on helping, we're working with about 20 different companies and about 50 or 60 different positions right now. And they're using this tool called LinkedIn to go search for, find, and reach out to people. And so if you don't come up, if you were someone who was a great fit for one of these opportunities and one of our clients and something would make a meaningful difference to you in your life, if you don't come up in our search results, we won't be able to and won't reach out to you. Now, even more importantly, it's about coming up high in our search results. And I'll show you that here in just a bit. But just like when you go to Google and run a search, I mean, how often do you go to page 8 or 9 or 10 looking for results, right? You might do it occasionally. Some of you have done it never, but it doesn't happen a whole lot. The same is true with recruiters and LinkedIn. We'll run a search and we'll go through the first couple of pages, but if you don't come up high in search results, no one is going to, I shouldn't say no one, you're not going to get reached out to by the person whom you didn't come up high in their search results. So the first side of the coin is being easy to be found, and I'm going to share with you some tips and tricks that are going to make a significant difference in how high you come up in search results. The other side of the coin is using LinkedIn to find and connect with other people and to literally kind of create some of your own opportunities. So we're going to kind of go through this session on those two sides of the coin. So we're going to start with the whole idea of being easy to be found. And I'm going to switch over to this little PowerPoint presentation that I put together and use this because it's got some prettier pictures. By the way, it is important, you might want to get the handout that's in the section that's over here in your GoToWebinar browser over there. It's called Leveraging LinkedIn.pdf, and I'll be referring to that. It's the exact same handout I have here, and so this stuff here is just a little prettier presentation that I put together. So let's dive right into what we do with regard to being easy to be found on LinkedIn. The first thing that I really want you to understand, and if you have no other takeaway from this session than what I'm about to tell you, that this is the most important thing, which is When you're creating your LinkedIn profile, it's much more important to care about doing search engine optimization on your profile so that you come up at the top of search results rather than caring so much about what your profile looks like and reads like once someone has found it. Let me say that again. When you're creating your LinkedIn profile, it's far more important to care about being easy to be found and to search engine optimize your profile than it is to care too much about what it looks like when somebody finds it. And if you don't take away anything from this session but that, that's the thing that I want you to take away. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So you may or may not be familiar with the term search engine optimization, but it comes out of the web world where people spend a lot of time, money, and energy ensuring that their company website comes up at the top of organic search results, is what it's called, when somebody searches for certain terms and phrases. And that search engine optimization is to make sure that your stuff comes up at the top of search results. Well, the truth is that when somebody is in LinkedIn and they search for people like you need to come up on the first page or two of search results. Otherwise, no one is going to reach out to you. All right, let me show you how to do that. So the first real significant tip or trick is to use multiple titles in your positions. Use multiple titles. And let me show you the reason why. I'm going to switch over to LinkedIn. I'm going to show you some stuff. I hope you don't mind. So the version of LinkedIn that I'm using right now, pardon me, I'm not logged into my recruiter account. You can see up here, I've got a recruiter account. I'm not logged into that. This is just my standard, basic, same old free LinkedIn account that anybody's got. And so I'm going to just start right up here. And let's say that one of my clients wants to hire a system administrator. And the system administrator is going to take care of all their Microsoft servers and the networks and their firewalls. Let's say it's a fairly small company, maybe 200 or 300 people, and they're going to hire a system administrator. So what people are going to do is we're going to come right up here and we're going to say system administrator, and we're going to press enter, which is what most people are going to do. Now, at this point in time, this brought up all sorts of things. It brought up jobs, it brought up people and the rest. If a hiring manager or somebody who isn't familiar with LinkedIn is searching for you, they might just type in system administrator and start scrolling down. You'll notice that the first people who come up on my list are actually in Austin, Texas, because that's where my profile, that's where I live, and that's where my profile has that as my zip code. So it starts showing me people in Austin, Texas. But my total search results, if you'll see it right up here at the top where my cursor is flashing, oh, I got rid of that, is a little over 500,000 people, right? Let me go back to that. There it is. A little over 500,000 people right here. People results for system administrator. Why won't it let me highlight that? Anyway, maybe I can highlight it here. 564,398, right? Wow, I really don't need that. So the reason why it's important to have multiple titles is this. Here's what recruiters do, and any kind of a hiring manager who knows what they're doing is once we run the search and get over on people, I'm going to move over to the right-hand side here. And I'm going to start narrowing this down. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this location section, and I'm going to put in the location where I'm looking for someone. So I'm going to put in Austin, Texas, and I have system administrator up here at the top, and Austin, Texas brings me 3,071. Now, hiring managers and people like that who don't use this tool regularly don't realize that what this search is doing up at the top is it's searching the person's headline and kind of doing a really broad search of somebody's profile. So, but as a recruiter, who are the people who are really looking for you, what I do is I get rid of that and I come over here to this right-hand side, and under the keywords section, I put in title. I want your title to be system administrator. So now I run that search. Ah, there we go. Now I got it down to 751 results. 751 results. And what that means is there are 751 people in my network who have a position with the title system administrator whose location is Austin, Texas. Now, what I'll begin to do as a recruiter is I'll begin to narrow my search down because I don't need 751 people. I'll narrow it down a little bit, but I'll show you that in a second. Going back to this slide for just a second though, this one is your tip number one is to use multiple titles. And let me show you the reason why it's important to use multiple titles in your positions in LinkedIn. Because right now, if you look at these 700, I search for people whose title is system administrator. That means that probably in a Linux world or a Microsoft world or something like that, they're doing server and system administration type work. They might be doing network type work. They might be doing desktop type work. What I know about titles as a recruiter is titles kind of don't mean anything. There's a tiny company with 10 people and they have one IT person and they call them a system administrator. And then there is Google. And there's Dell in Austin, who has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people called system administrator, and most of them don't do any. So the title doesn't really mean much to me. But I'm going to narrow it down. I brought it down to 751. But I've got Bob Farmer, I've got Jared Flanagan, I've got Ron Chadwick, I've got Justin Payne, I've got Keith Bird, I've got Adam Coronado. All right. Now, the reason why multiple titles is that there are some companies that call that role system administrator. There are other companies that have people doing the exact same work that are called network engineer. And watch what happens. Notice these people here: Bob Farmer, Jared Flanagan, Rod Chadwick, Justin Payne, right? Now I'm going to change it to network engineer, and none of those people come up. It's a totally different set of people. In fact, there's only 59 now in my search. Joe Tabor, Alan Nilsson, Charlie Pruitt, J. Allen Hussall, Louis Delgado, Scott Herbert. Look at that, a totally different set of people. And what I know is that a lot of people called network engineer do exactly the same thing as people who are called system administrator. Well, what if I call it Microsoft administrator? What if I do that? Now I got 3. Look at that, Joe Tabor came up again. Notice this, check out Joe Tabor. He's got system administrator, network engineer, Microsoft administrator, IT security. Look at that. He's got multiple things, and this is his headline, as well as multiple titles. So Joe Tabor probably came up, or he should have come up in my search results the first time. So Joe Tabor is probably the only person out of all of that who probably came up multiple times. So let me click on Joe Tabor. He's with Tabor Consulting, Austin Community College. Yeah, look at that, right? He's got multiple titles. So Joe came up in my search multiple times. So tip number one is use multiple titles in your position. And I'll show you literally how to do this. I'll drop into LinkedIn here in a minute, edit my profile and show you this stuff, but I want to show you a couple of other tips. The reason why you have to use multiple titles is that the most common search that recruiters use is by searching in the title field, narrowing it down by location. And if their company wants to hire a system administrator, they're going to put in system administrator. And if you have the title network engineer, you're not going to come up in their search results. So the idea is to use multiple titles that are the kind of titles that somebody's going to use to search for people like you. So here are a few examples on the left: system administrator, network engineer, Microsoft administrator, IT security. Look at that. Does that look familiar? Check this out. If I go back over to Joe's profile, look at that first one. You think maybe he was in one of my sessions one time? Maybe. I'd be willing to bet you. All right. Office manager, executive assistant, administrative assistant, chief of staff. How about that set? How about software engineer, software developer, programmer, UI, UX, C++, Java, .NET, C#, Agile, SAS, right? That covers so much. And so there's so much opportunity for somebody to search for and find someone like that. How about sales executive, account manager, inside sales, sales representative? So whatever positions you have in LinkedIn, please use multiple titles. That's trick number one. Trick number two is to have what's called a current position. And what I mean by a current position is that, here, I'll just show you. Let me show you. I'm going to go to my profile. In fact, I'll show you on Joe's. So right now, this one that says July 2009 through present, this thing called present is what makes this a current position. It's a current position. And you can have multiple current positions. I'll show you. I have multiple current positions. So I'm going to go to my profile. and I have multiple current positions. One current position is Director of Recruiting, Executive Recruiter, Senior Technical Recruiter, Talent Acquisition Leader for Austin HR. It's through present. I've got another one, Senior Recruiter, Technical Executive, Austin Search Partners, which is also through present. I've got another one, President, Career Strategist, Career Coach, and Public Speaker, Talent Branders. That's the hat that I'm wearing right now. And so those are all three current positions. Now, the way that you make a position current is like this. I'm going to click on that little pencil, and then down here, it says title, company, location, from, and then I have this little checkbox mark that says I currently work here. It's this little checkbox that says I currently work here that makes that a current position. Now, what I'm afraid happened is that LinkedIn mislabeled this field. They made a mistake. So instead of this field being labeled I currently work here, this field should have been labeled make this my current position, because if you're currently unemployed, you still need a position that is a current position, and you need a position in LinkedIn where you've checked this box that says I currently work here. So the reason why that is so important, I'm actually going to delete this. No, I'm not going to delete that one. The reason why that is so important, I'm going to go back to this little PowerPoint for a second, is to have a current position. It's critically important for two reasons. One is that when I ran this search earlier, I'm going to go back to my search for network engineer. What it's going to do is anyone, when I just search for system administrator up here, or when I put it down here as network engineer, right over here, the people it's going to sort to the top of the list, there's a few things to notice about them. One is that they're going to be near me, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Two is they're first person connected to me, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But what happens is they have a position with the title network engineer. And if their position 5 positions down was network engineer, they're not going to get sorted to the top of my list nearly as much as the people who have a current position with the title network engineer. So if you have the right title in your current position or current positions, then you sort to the top of the list. Another reason why it's absolutely critical is that when you have a upgraded recruiter account, and I'm not going to log into that one because the look and feel changes and all that kind of stuff. But what I can do is I can actually flip this and say, I only want to see people who hold this title in their current position. And as a recruiter, we typically flip it to current, not because I care whether or not you're employed or not, but because if I don't, I'll find people who were network engineer a long time ago, and that doesn't do me any good. So as a recruiter, our primary way of searching is we put in a title, we put in a location, we flip the switch on current, and essentially we're running a search for people who have a current position with the words network and engineer in the title that are in the location that we're looking for. And that brought me back 1,054 results, right? 1,054 results, which is way too many. And my point earlier on having multiple titles, if I change it to system administrator, where's Joe? I bet Joe's in here somewhere. He's going to be on a different page. But if I change it to system administrator, a whole different set of people are going to come up. All right. So 2 tips. These are big ones. Use multiple titles in your positions. And for as many positions as you can go back, I mean, use multiple titles. It makes more sense. And then always have a current position. Now, what you can do for your current position if you're unemployed is fairly straightforward, which is I'll show you how to create a new position. I scroll down here under this experience section. I click plus and title, right? So in my title, I'm going to put multiple titles, system administrator. I like the vertical bar. You can use any separator that you want. Network, network engineer, etc. And I would keep going until I run out of space. My company, I can put all kinds of stuff. I can say seeking new opportunity. Seeking new opportunity. I can put in New Horizon student. Student. A+ Net Plus certified, seeking new opportunity. Oh my goodness. Did you know that how hard it is to type is directly proportional to the number of people watching you type? Seeking new opportunities. Seeking new opportunity. Great. I can put in, I usually you don't put in a location there, but what you would do is you go back to say, you know what, I've been kind of working on this stuff for a little while, and I go back to March that I currently work here, and I would not update my headline. I'll tell you why later. And in the description, you would talk about the things that you're learning. I'm getting, currently getting certified in these kinds of things, experience in using these tools and technologies, attending these kinds of classes, and fill out that whole description. And then when you save it, I'm going to save it and I'll show you what that looks like. That now comes up to the top of my list as a current position: system administrator, network engineer, New Horizons student, A+, Net Plus certified, seeking new opportunity. And if I had a description in there, all that description would be right there. So you must have a current position. And just remember that little checkbox that they have is mislabeled. I currently work here doesn't mean you're employed. I currently work here is the mistake that they made, and it should be labeled that make this my current position so that people can find me. That's what it really ought to say. I'm going to delete this position because I really don't want it on my profile. Okay, cool. We all good? Kelly, how are we doing out there? Got any questions, anything? We doing all right?
We're doing good. Yeah, I think we can keep going.
Cool. Okay, cool. Tip number 3 is a search engine optimize or search optimize headline. Let me show you where your headline is. So this is my headline. So it's the thing that's at the top of your profile. It's right there. That's your headline. And so when I ran this search earlier, and did you know you can hold down the back key and it shows you a bunch of stuff, right? It shows you my previous pages. So if I went back, it would take me to here. So you can just hold down the key and it'll take you back to a previous page that you were on, right? And so what I was going to show you is people's headlines. So Glenn Corson 2, his headline is network engineer at Tech Systems. By default, it puts in title at company on your most recent position. Title at company. Don't do that. Remember a while ago I told you, don't check the box that says automatically update your headline, because if you did, it would update your headline with network engineer, system engineer, IT security at New Horizons student, A+, Net Plus, seeking new opportunity, which doesn't make any sense. And so what you want to do is always take control of this headline, right? Network engineer at Axiom, Cisco network engineer at IPsoft, senior network engineer at Dynamics Campus. So all of these people took the default, right, is really what they did for the most part. Except for this guy, senior network cloud engineer at Rackspace, the #1 managed cloud company. So this is people's headline. Now, what I was talking about is to search optimize your headline. And here's the reason why. Is as a recruiter, we all come over here to the right-hand side and we put in this title field because I want to search for people who have a certain title in their position. Hiring managers who don't use this tool as much, or administrative assistants who don't use this tool as much, or HR professionals who aren't recruiters who don't use this tool so much, they'll search up here and they'll say system administrator, right? And they'll just say system administrator up here, and they won't put in this title field over here. They might put in fact, what they're going to do is they're not even going to put in Austin, Texas here. They're going to put in system administrator, Austin, Texas, because they don't know any better. And look at that, comes up with a totally different search list. Laura Edwards, system engineer at the University of Texas, Austin. Now, here's the thing that I want you to take away from this. I said, search optimize your headline. The reason why you want to search optimize your headline is that if you have a non-experienced person who is searching for you, and by the way, I'd be willing to bet you the majority of people who are searching LinkedIn today trying to find somebody are not recruiters. And the reason why is every single hiring manager that I work with, they look for their own people. And I support, at any given time, 10 or 15 hiring managers, and they sometimes have administrative assistants. So I'd be willing to bet you there's 20 or 30 or 40 times more people who aren't recruiters who are looking for you. They don't necessarily use the sophisticated search, and they use this simple search up at the top. Here's what this simple search at the top does. It really searches primarily your headline, So the reason why Laura Edwards came up at the top of my list is because she has the word system administrator and Austin and Texas in her headline, right? You see that? That's the reason why she came up. All right. How about this next one? System administrator at Texas, system network administrator, Austin, senior system administrator, Texas, right? So here's the deal. Most people who are going to search for you aren't going to use the fancy searches that I was really talking about. They're going to use the simple search that's up here at the top, and the simple search at the top really searches your headline. So it's absolutely critical that you search engine optimize your headline. And here's what I suggest you do. Is whatever you're using for your title in your current position, check out what I did. So here's my current position: Director of Recruiting, Executive Recruiter, Senior Recruiter, Talent Acquisition Leader. I put it right here, Executive Recruiter, hiring, a little bit different. But you want to put in words that are essentially going to be a series of titles that somebody's likely to search for. And I'm not in job seeker mode. If I were, I would probably go ahead and put in location here. And in fact, I'll see if it'll let me do it right now. Austin, Texas. I think it's too many words right now. I got too many things in there. I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to put Austin, Texas. I'm going to click save. So I just edited my profile. So now if somebody searches for technical recruiter, Austin, Texas up here, I'll come up at the top of the search results. So search engine optimize your headline. All right. Everything we're talking about so far and everything we're doing right now has nothing to do with the content of your LinkedIn profile. And let me show you the reason why. So if I'm looking for a system administrator for a hospital or a doctor's office, let's just say, I'm going to say, here's what I'm going to do as a recruiter. I'm going to say system administrator. I'm going to go do a people search. I'm actually going to get rid of system administrator here because the only reason why I put it in there, so it'll bring up this for me. I'm going to drop in system administrator in the title field. I'm going to go to the location, Austin, because that's where I'm searching for somebody. Check out what happens. I get 752. That's way too many. So I use the keyword field up here and I say medical, health care, and I'm going to say CompTIA because I want somebody with CompTIA certification. There's one, bang, that's too few, but I guarantee you I'm reaching out to Armando. So I'm going to open Armando in a new tab. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to back off on some of this and get a bigger set. So let's just see what happens. So right now my search is, oh, this is good. I got 95 people. I can deal with that. So what I have right now is I have the title system administrator. I have the location Austin, Texas. And these people all have the word CompTIA somewhere in their profile. And so what I'm going to do is, in fact, let me put in one more and see if I can't narrow it down a little bit. Let's say it's Microsoft. I got 74, nice. So here's the way that a recruiter is going to work this. I am not, first thing I'm gonna do is, so I don't have to run my search results again, I'm gonna open them in a new tab. I'm not gonna bother to look at Art's profile at all. I just don't, and most recruiters don't. And the reason why I don't is here's what I know already. I know that his title is system administrator. I know that he's got CompTIA and Microsoft in his profile. I know that his profile is listed in Austin, Texas. So now what I know is Art either is or knows the person who I'm seeking. So why would I spend any time looking at his profile? That just takes my time. And chances are Art's not going to be interested in moving to another job. He's probably not going to communicate with me at all. Only about 25 to 30% of everybody I reach out to responds to me. So I'm simply going to connect with Art. I'm going to add a note. I'm going to say, hi, Art. It's always good to be connected to IT professionals in Austin. Let's connect. Let's connect. Best, Gary. And so I'll send Art that message, and I should have put that in my copy buffer, and I'll close Art's profile. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to Jason. I'm going to go ahead and open Scott. I'm going to go to open Kim. And what I'll do is I should have copied that message into my copy buffer. I would click on this. I would hit add a note. I would paste my message again. I'd put in his name, Jason. I would hit send invitation, and off we go. And I would go to Scott Zimmerman. I would click connect. I would paste my message. I would say replace the name with Scott. I would send my invitation, and I would flat out just go through this list, and I'm going to send a connection request to everybody who comes up on my list. And you'll notice that I didn't look at their profile at all. So that's the reason why I was saying earlier that it's far more important to pay attention to whether or not your profile is going to come up high in search results than it is to what your profile looks like, because when you have a professional recruiter who's trying to find you, we don't read your profile, right? We just open it up and try to connect with you. Now, the reason why I try to connect with you is that once I am connected, then let me just show you some money. In fact, let me show you this. So I'm not yet connected to Art because he hadn't accepted my connection request. That's why it says pending here. But what happens is over here in the show more area, it doesn't show me his email address or anything like that. Once he's connected with me, I'll have the rest of his contact information. Let me show you somebody I am connected to. Oh, come on. Kelly Waters. Hi, Kelly. Where are you at in here? Kelly Waters.
2 T's.
Horizons.
Kelly Waters.
That is right. Thank you. There you are. Hi, Kelly. So there's Kelly Waters. I am connected with her, and you'll notice that when I go over here to show more, I now have her email address, kellybwaters@gmail.com. And we've been connected since February this year. All right, so that's that. You get their contact information once you connect with them. So what you do, or what recruiters do, is we'll go run a search. We'll find 50 to 100 people who fit our search criteria. We'll send out connection request, and once I see when you accept my connection request, then I go look at your profile and figure out whether or not I really want to reach out to you. So you really got to come up high in search results. That's really what it's all about. By the way, I'll show you this in another section. All right, so here's what we got. We got 3 tips so far, and the 3 tips we have are number 1, use multiple titles in your positions. 2, have a current position, and that's because your current position ranks you higher and sorts you higher. And if you're dealing with a professional recruiter as an upgraded account, we can pick to only search your current title. And then search engine optimize your headline, because if people aren't using a sophisticated approach and they're only searching up here, it searches your headline is really what it searches. So you can think of this as a headline and a keyword search, and those other things as a more advanced type search. All right. Here's another tip for you. Keywords, 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 right? And what I mean by that is, earlier when I ran that, when I ran a search, so let's just do, let's do a search again so I can show you network. In fact, let's just do help desk. That'll probably bring up a bunch of people. Yeah, I got a bunch. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say title help desk. And I'm going to get rid of this because that's a keyword search. Their search is weird these days. It's kind of all over the place. It's scattered around. I don't love it. Austin, Texas. So now what I'm doing is it just search for people whose title is help desk in Austin, Texas. I got 244 of them. I don't want 244 of them, so I'm going to narrow it down. And the way that I'm going to narrow it down is I'm going to start by usually with certifications. That's how important they are. Is that now that I narrowed it down using CompTIA, they're a help desk. So here's what I know. Everyone here has the word help desk in their title, and it's likely their most recent title. And the more recent it is, the higher they come up in my search results, that they're in Austin, Texas, and they have the word CompTIA right here in their profile somewhere. And that got me down to 28. And really, for me, that's plenty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now open Philip. And I want to show you something on Philip. Philip is a third level connection from me, third level connection. And the reason why that matters is if I open up Michael Poe, who is a second level connection with me, under this second level, what you'll see is that it gives me this button called connect. So what I can do is I can add a note, and it was Michael, right? Oh, I forgot his name. Michael. I can add a note, always add a note. Hi, Michael. It's always good to be connected with IT professionals in Austin. Let's connect. Let's connect. Best, Gary. Now this time I'm going to put that in my copy buffer, and I'm going to send him that invitation, and then I would close his profile and go on to the next one. Now, Philip Fusselman, right? He's this first guy. He's a third level connection for me, Philip Fusselman. And so when I bring up Philip Fusselman, you'll see that it only gives me a choice of InMail right here, and InMail cost me money. Well, all they did was they just hid it from you. It's still here. It's just under this 3-dot menu, and it's called Connect, right? Isn't that kind of aggravating, right? They just hid it. You can still do it. I mean, what do they think? That I'm stupid and I don't figure that out? I don't know, right? It's here. It's under these 3 dots. It's called Connect. So you can still do it, and I can still add a note. And this time I'm going to paste that note. Oh my goodness. And this is Philip, so I'm going to double click that. Philip. And launch that invitation. So now I sent that over to him. I'm going to close that, and I move on to Stephen Knight and Heather Bates and Neil, right? And I'm just showing you this is how recruiters work. This is how I get my job done. Heather Bates. So Heather Bates is also third. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to click connect. I'm going to add a note. I'm going to paste it. And I'm going to say, Heather, send invitation. There we go. And then Neil, same thing, right? Connect with Neil. Add a note. Paste. Was it N-E-I-L-L? Something like that. Yep. All right, cool. So back to this whole presentation. The reason why keywords are so important, and what a real takeaway I wanted you to have from that is the way that I narrowed it down was by putting in keywords up here at the top. So the way that you work your profile, so you come up in high-end search results, is have multiple titles, because I could have just as well, instead of saying help desk, I could have said desktop support. I could have said IT admin. I could have said Microsoft specialist. I could have said all kinds of stuff. I chose help desk. And none of these people have multiple titles, right? So none of them have multiple titles. You know, if I put in desktop support, and I spell it right, this is a set of desktop support people who have the word CompTIA. If I get rid of CompTIA, I can I get 277, and instead of CompTIA, what I might put in is A+, and let's see what happens. I got 157 if I have A+. If I say CompTIA, I get 49. If I say Net Plus, oops, I got what do I get? Come on. I got 9. If I say MCSE, I get 4, right? And so the point of this whole thing is that when you have multiple titles and you have a current position and you optimize your headline, then keywords is the next thing that we use to narrow the set down. So whatever keywords is likely to be used to narrow sets down, such as the industry you're in or healthcare or whatever it is, the truth of the matter is if you load your profile up with whatever those keywords are, certifications are a big one, industries are a big one, and there's no reason why you can't list healthcare in your profile somewhere. Even doesn't mean that you necessarily worked in it. There's nothing wrong with that. All you're really doing is coming up in search results, and I could easily do that by adding something to my summary saying interested in working in industries that include healthcare, manufacturing, and you could list a whole bunch of industries just in case somebody puts industries in here into this keyword search. So this is what we might call call LinkedIn hacking, right? LinkedIn hacking. Our whole purpose here is to come up high in search results. All right. So the final one is build your network. Build your network. The reason why you want to build your network is that when I search for certain positions, right? When I search for, marketing, right? And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to put in, the only reason why I searched up there is because I can't get to this search without doing it. They've really messed up the interface. I'm not happy about it. But when I put in marketing here, then, and I put in Austin, Texas. Why didn't it show me more people than that? First level connections, 118. It's kind of interesting. They've changed their search algorithm, and this has only happened like in the last day or so. Normally what happens when I run a search here and I put in something like marketing and Austin, Texas, the first people on the list are going to be people who are first person connected with me. And it's really weird that they're not. These people are second person connected with me. That's really interesting and fascinating. That might just be a bug for today because it's almost always the people who are first person connected with me. And so I'm not quite sure what's going on in that regard. All these people are listed as second person to me. But what I will do, even if they leave that, if that's a feature instead of a bug, I'll click first person. And the reason why is I already got 118. And the nice thing about these people is I'm already connected with them. And the reason why it's nice to be connected with them is that if I go to Scott Turner, since I'm already connected with him, I've got his contact information here, right? I've got his email address. Sometimes they even have his phone number. So the reason why you want to build your network is, one, is that if you are not part of my network, if you're not first person, second person, or third person connected to me, then you will not come up in my search results. And what that means is that to be first person connected, all those people I just sent a connection request to, if they accept my connection request, I'm now first person connected to those individuals. Second person connection is if you connect to me, then you're a first person connection to me and I'm a first person connection to you. But all the people that I'm connected to who you aren't now become part of your second level network. So second level networks are the people that you're connected to. You're connected to your first level network, and the people who they're connected to, who you're not connected to, that's your second level network. And then the people that those people are connected to, who your second level, your connections aren't connected to, or your third, right? It's just how many steps away are they? How many people do you have to go through to get the connection? And so when I run a search, if I'm not in my upgraded $1,000 a month recruiter account, then the only people who come up my search results are the people who are part of my network. So when a recruiter is searching for you, when a hiring manager is searching for you, most of them do not have the upgraded account that lets them see everybody. So if a recruiter in your area is searching for you, or a hiring manager or an administrative assistant or whoever it is searching for you in your area, and you're not in their network, if you're not connected to them, first person, second person, or third person, you don't come up in their search results. So if you do not have a big network, you will not come up in search results. So having a LinkedIn profile with no network is the same as having no LinkedIn profile at all. You may as well not bother. So you must build your network. Now, on that note, you may have heard this vicious rumor that you should only connect with the people that you know. I'm here to tell you that that is a vicious rumor and it isn't true at all. Now, LinkedIn sometimes spreads that vicious rumor, and here's the reason why. Is because if companies have recruiters and people who are trying to find people on LinkedIn who have small networks, right? My network is huge. I got millions of people in my network. But if they have a junior recruiter or they don't have a recruiter and they're using an administrative assistant and that person only has 50 people in their network, they won't be able to see anything. And that means that what they have to do is they have to pay LinkedIn $1,000 a month to be able to get a recruiter account so that they can have a bigger network to search. So if everybody was connected to everybody, nobody would pay LinkedIn any money. So the reason why LinkedIn encourages you to only connect to the people who you know is if you follow their behavior, then people like me have to pay them a lot of money. Now, I'm not am in favor of LinkedIn making money and being a wildly successful company because it's important to me. I just don't think that they necessarily have to make your money. So therefore, you need to build your network, because if you are not networked in LinkedIn, no one will find you, because most of them do not have upgraded accounts. So build your network, connect with people. I'm going to show you how to do that. All right. So let's just check this sheet, and we'll do a quick check-in. So all of the information I just gave you is here in detail, right? Search engine optimize your profile, right? Search engine optimize your profile. Do that by using multiple titles that people are likely to search for, by having a current position in your profile. This one we didn't talk about, which is set a zip code in the middle of your commute area. I'll show you that in a second. Have a highly searchable headline. The easy thing to do to have a highly searchable headline is to use the same title as you use in your current position, but also put your city in it. Keywords. These are the things that once the recruiter or somebody's narrowed a set down and they search for people with that title and that location, if there's too many people, they begin narrowing it down by other things like certifications and industries. So load up your profile with the kinds of certifications and industries and tools and technologies and all kinds of stuff that somebody might use to narrow a set down. Well, how do you know what those are? Well, go play recruiter and pretend like you're searching for people, and you'll figure it out pretty quickly, right? Yeah, so that's really the key. The only one that I didn't show you here is the zip code in the middle of your commute area. To show you that, I really have to upgrade to, I'd have to log into my other account. But just know this, is that in my general account, which is the same one that you have, all I can put in is, I think, unless they've changed it, let me go back and search for marketing. Come on, LinkedIn. Here we go, locations, add a location. I think it doesn't let me put in a zip code. No, it doesn't let me put in zip code. But in my upgraded account and a lot of recruiter accounts, what we have is we have a zip code we can put in. And when we put in a zip code, we can narrow it down to within 5 miles, 10 miles, 15 miles, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50 miles of the zip code. And so what we know is that it's a whole lot easier to work with people who are a lot closer to the location, because then you don't have to get into the commute issue. And so what we do is we'll put in one of the other ways we narrow things down as opposed to just zip code. So I have a client in Austin, as an example, who's in a really awkward location. It's very difficult for lots of people to commute to. So rather than narrowing things down by keyword, I narrow it down by zip code, and I put in within like 15 miles of that zip code. Now, the challenge with that is that there might be people who live up in Pflugerville, as an example. That's a town. Isn't that a funny name, Pflugerville? But there are people who live up in Pflugerville, which is north of Austin, who they're not within 15 miles of my client location, but it's not a bad commute for them. But because everybody else is, I narrow it down to within 15 miles. Since they're way north of town, they won't be in my search results. And so my suggestion to you is that what you put for your zip code is pick a zip code that's in the middle of the area that makes sense for you to commute to, and use that, right? It doesn't have to be the area where you live. And let me show you where your zip code is. I'm going to go back to my profile, and right up here at the top, if I edit my profile right up here, one of the things that lets me put in is my zip code right here. Just know that no one ever sees your zip code, only you see your zip code. It's only used for searching. So if the people in Pflugerville put the Pflugerville zip code, and I narrow my search down for position in Austin down to within 15 miles, they're not coming up in my search results. So anybody up in Pflugerville or Georgetown, there aren't really opportunities that are north of them. They need to pick a zip code that's further down. So pick a zip code that's in the middle of the area you're willing to commute to. Now, the challenge is going to be with all of this stuff is if you're looking to relocate, you can only have one location, you can only have one zip code. And so that kind of makes life hard when people are searching for you and you're open to being somewhere else. Now, if you're living currently in Austin, Texas, and you're absolutely committed to living in Chicago, then you might want to consider whether or not you don't put a zip code in your address as Chicago. You just have to figure that when you do that, you're going to have to get yourself up to Chicago. You're going to have to fly up there and all that, which isn't a bad idea because nobody relocates anybody or pays for it anymore these days anyway. So if you're really looking to get to another city, and this is a sidebar, don't expect that count yourself as really, really lucky and really, really rare if anybody's going to even pay at all to assist you in relocating, much less pay for you to fly in to interview. So if you're dedicated and absolutely committed to moving, just know that you got a hard road to hoe unless you're willing to kind of do it yourself, right? A little bit hard. All right, cool. So that's where we're at on all of this stuff. So that is really a huge part of what we have to know. And again, the key takeaway I want you to take from this is that if you do not come up in people's search results, you will not get reached out to by a recruiter and hiring manager and all those kinds of people. To get found in searches, you need to have multiple titles. You need to have a current position. Put your zip code in the middle of the area, your commute area. Make your headline searchable, which means use your same titles that you have out of your current position, but maybe shorten it to the degree that you can put in your city, because hiring managers and other people who don't know as much about using LinkedIn are going to use that bar at the top and just search for title and location up at the top. Also use lots of keywords in your profile. Put it in your summary, and put those keywords like your certifications and your tools and your industries in your profile as many times as you can. Because as an example, if you put Cisco in your profile, if you're an IT professional, if you put Cisco in your profile 5 times, then you come up in higher search results than the same person has the same title and everything else as you, who only has it in there 4 times. So put it in there as many times as you can, and you come up higher in search results, right? That's how that works. Let's see what's on this next page. Maximize keywords in your summary. My only point in maximizing keywords in your summary, just so you can know what I'm talking about on that handout, is that my summary is this section right here. It used to matter a whole lot more. And by the way, one of the things that will give you a clue about LinkedIn realizing that recruiters don't really look at people's profiles is they've done a couple of things. Is to see your summary, I actually have to click on something. So I never do. Right? I never click on that. I never open it up. So mostly the only thing that's going to, and rarely does any recruiter do that. So the only thing that's going to matter with regard to your summary is whether or not it's keyword laden, so it helps you get higher to search results. So an easy thing to do when you're editing your summary is that down at the very bottom of your summary, you can literally put in, you can say keywords, right? And you can put it in right here. You can say, if you're in IT, you can say Cisco, Microsoft, you can say CompTIA, you can say Net Plus, Security Plus, like list stuff, like, just list it, right? And something like this. And let me show you. And please forgive me, this is going to be, I don't want to spend the time editing it, but you'll get the point. You certainly wouldn't just copy them like that. But if you have like 3 lines of them, you can load this thing up with the industries and the certifications and the technologies and all kinds of stuff that people are likely to search for. And the reason why you want to put it there in your summary is that this summary section, any words that are in your summary carry more, well, with regard to words carrying weight, with regard to searching, the thing that carries the most weight is your headline right here. The thing that carries the next most weight are your titles on your positions. And the thing that carries the next most weight is all the stuff that's in your summary. And the way that I know that is I'm geeky enough that I've tested it with fake accounts that I create to figure this stuff out. So yeah, load your summary up with the type of words and the same titles and everything else, right? So if you have system administrator as your title, and then you have system administrator in your summary 5 times or 3 times or 2 times or 1 time, and you have system administrator up here, you come up higher in search results than the person who only has system administrator in your title. So this stuff is really, really simple. LinkedIn's search engine is really, really simple. It's really kind of not very smart. And so it's really easy to hack it and to trick it. And the whole point is if you don't come up at the top of search results, no one's going to reach out to you, right? I'm not going to reach out to you if you're not on the first couple of pages of search results. It's 20 people per page. Recruiters are kind of impatient. I got a lot of stuff to do. If you're not on the first couple of pages of search results, I'm not reaching out to you. So that's how that works. Kelly, what do you think? How are we doing?
We're doing good.
Are we all bored? What's going on?
No, we're doing good. We did have a question on, do you know what would be considered too many titles?
Yeah, too many titles is going to be limited by the fact that it only lets you put in a certain number of words. I forget how many it is, or a certain number of characters. So what's going to happen is you're going to run out of characters before you run out of titles. So if I go down here and I start trying to type in more, what it's going to do is when I try to save that, it says I've exceeded the character limit by 36. So do it till you exceed this character limit. How about that?
Okay, sounds good. Another question we had regarding this is it worth the character space in the headline to put seeking new opportunity?
I don't think so. Here's what I think with regard to the headline is your headline up here is when most people who are searching for you are not recruiters. Most people who are searching for you are going to use this box up here. And this box up here is mostly searching your headline. Rarely is anybody going to search for seeking new opportunity. So don't put that in your headline. You're wasting space in your headline because rarely is anybody going to search for it. So what you want is you want to use stuff that's likely to come up in search results. So for me, I want things where somebody, if somebody was to say, recruiter, I don't have the word manager in here. I haven't thought through it very well. I'm not trying to find a job. I probably ought to have the word manager in here. So if somebody would say, and I ought to have the word recruiting. Here it is, recruiting director, manager, whatever it is, technical, professional, executive. So the point is that when somebody searched for executive recruiter, I would come up because it doesn't look at it as a phrase. It looks at it as find people whose headline have the word executive and the word recruiter in it. The only word that I realize I'm missing right now is manager right now, and I need to cram that in there somehow, as well as Austin. So yeah, I would never put seeking new opportunity, not because there's something wrong with it. There's just something better to do with it, which is use the words that people are going to use up here in this box to search for you.
All right.
What
And
do you
then,
think?
yeah, we've got
Okay.
one more, but I think you're going to get to it. It's regarding the profile pictures and does the type of picture matter? But I think you're going to address that shortly. So,
Yeah, let's do that right now.
all
So
right.
the answer is that, yeah, it matters. But my first guidance to you is, when in doubt, if you're not sure if you want to put a picture or not, if you're on the fence about it, please put one. If you really don't want to, well, don't. So there's no right or wrong in this one, but there are some general guidance that I can give you, and here's the reason why. So here's what we know. Statistics from LinkedIn. I know a lot of people who work at LinkedIn. I see their statistics, and I know what's happening on the back end and the rest. Profiles with pictures are like 15 times more likely to get clicked on, and the reason why is because despite the way it seems like we behave to one another, people like people, or maybe the better way to say it is people are interested in people. And so when I look down this list, look at these pictures. I'm gonna zoom in my profile and just my zoom in just a little bit so you can see. So as I go through here, the people who have pictures are a lot more interesting than the people who don't, right? Internet marketing fish, what is that? All of these people have pictures. I'm going to find one that doesn't. It just puts up a silhouette, right? Yeah. So all I can tell you is Van Lee is not nearly as interesting to Jill Ford or Scott. And what's going to happen is that statistically, Rachel Olen's profile is going to get open 15 times more than Van Lee's is. So yeah, and it's interesting. It's really kind of hard to find a bad profile picture anymore. They used to be horrendous, but all of these are pretty okay, right? So see, Angela just isn't as interesting. But look, Michelle Greer, you can see her face. You see a nice smile. It looks professional. Jack Chang, come on, Jack, really? I can't see you. You got your body. You got all these people back here. It's a vacation pic. Are you kidding me? You're in marketing. What are you talking about? You got a vacation pic? Probably avoid that. Kids in your picture, this isn't Facebook. Yeah, probably not. This guy's in marketing too, really? So, all right, look at that. Joseph, nice guy, right? I want to have lunch or coffee with him, right? Michael, he looks not serious at all, but, good dude. I'd probably zoom it in a little bit. I prefer the ones that show more face and are zoomed in. Look at that one, Monique. And let's go check out Kelly. Hi, Kelly. Let's go check out her profile. She's got a great picture, by the way. Look at that. Friendly, smiley, right? Look at that. Great profile pic, by the way, Kelly. Love it.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's what I have to say about pictures. So I think it's important to have one. If you really don't want to have one, please don't have one. But if you're on the fence, have one. You don't have to pay a whole lot of money for it. Make it professional, zoom in a little bit, nice white background, yeah, I think it's important. If you're a fireman, you might wear a fire hat. But otherwise, kind of no props and kids and pictures and dogs. This is really not a social site. All right, cool. What else we got? Anything?
Let me see. How important is it to put your level of work experience in your profile? Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what I even mean by a level of work experience.
Well, they listed titles after that, so like executive, senior, etc.
Oh, okay. So cool. So the answer is that it really comes down to it varies depending upon the role. So it really comes down to trying to imagine what people are likely to search for. So as an example, people are very likely to search for executive recruiter because it's a title that's used. But rarely would somebody search for, say, finance executive. They're going to search for something more like CFO or something like that. So I think it's less about whether or not it's a level or what have you than it is what is somebody likely to search for. Clearly a CFO is an executive, but rarely if I was searching for a CFO would I put in the word executive. I would say CFO, I might say chief financial officer, those kinds of things. So it's about what's the title that somebody's going to search for, because my friend at LinkedIn said, statistically, they look at it and it's like 96% of all searches that are done are basically around a commonly used title. So people are going to search for you by title. That's how I would answer that one.
All right. And then someone had asked, should they list 2 current positions, one for the current employer, and then a second that they are a student studying to be for a certification? Certain type of certification. Okay.
Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. You can that's perfect. It doesn't get any better than that with regard to that circumstance.
All right. That's it for questions. So we can go ahead and move on.
Okay, cool. Only thing that was here, and I want to mention that to you. So we just did picture. The only thing that I wanted to mention to you is there are no formatting tools in LinkedIn. And so if you want some underlines and some things, and I need to go update mine because they changed the layout a little bit, and so I haven't really updated mine yet. But here's what I want to show you. So you might notice that in some people's profile, and like mine, I have like this underline. Well, that's not really an underline. Let me show you what that is. And I don't know why LinkedIn hadn't put in like editing or formatting tools yet. I don't know. It's weird. But this is really a character. And so if I want something underlined, what I can do is I can go type this word, underline me, and then it's not really an underline, it's an overbar character. So I go to the next line and I essentially, a second, there's underline me. I'll go to the next line and I will paste that character. So I just paste it. So that's how I got underlined. So if you want underlines, easy thing to do is you can come to my profile, because it's hard to find this one on the keyboard, and you can basically copy this little character out of my profile and use that for your underline. The other thing that you'll notice is in this area down here, I have bullet points. Well, you can't just copy and paste bullet point stuff from Microsoft Word. It gets all weird. And so, but what you can do is you can come to my profile. This is a special funky character, and these aren't just spaces. This is these special hidden characters that force LinkedIn to not crush spaces out, and you can copy them out of my profile and you can paste them into yours. So Easiest way to get bullet points and underlines is you got to do it by hand. You got to do it one at a time, and you can come to my profile and copy and paste those characters out, and then you can add some underlines and some neat bullet points. If you want hanging indents like this, these are not spaces. What I had to do is I had to put a carriage return here at the end of the line and use these special hidden characters, and you can copy them out of mine. If I didn't use those special characters and I use spaces, it'll make you crazy because it'll crush it all the way back over to the line. You're like, I can't understand why it's not a hanging indent. Well, it's because those aren't spaces. So yeah, there's that. Not super important, but you know, every little bit certainly helps. Let's go to the other side of the coin and let's talk about how you use LinkedIn to reach out and find others and make things happen. So step number one, and this actually matters for being found. So this is kind of the transition point of being found and finding others. So just like we discussed a while ago, there's 3 levels of connections in LinkedIn. First level connections are the people you're directly connected to. That means that either you reached out to them and sent a connection request and they accepted it, or they reached out to you with a connection request and you accepted it. That's how you become first level connections. Second level connections is if I connect to you and you're connected to Bob and I'm not connected to Bob, then Bob is in my second level. And if I'm connected to you and you're connected to Bob and Bob is connected to Sally, and you're not connected to Sally, then Sally is in my third level network, right? It's just how many steps away they are, right? It's kind of like 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but it's really just 3 degrees of LinkedIn is really kind of what it is. So visibility is through your network. You are not visible to people outside of your network. That isn't true if they search for you by name. So somebody who's looking for you by name can find you. But normally people aren't looking for you by name. They're looking for you by title and by location and by keyword and by zip code. And so, and by whether or not your, title is current. Those are the things that we're searching for you by. And so if you're not in a recruiter's network, if you're not in a hiring manager's network, if you're not in an administrative assistant, if you're not in the network of whoever's searching for you, you do not come up in search results. And except for today, usually you come up higher in search results the closer your connection. So normally when I run a search, those people who are first person connected to me are the ones who come up on the first page. In fact, I've got so many connections that for the kinds of positions that I typically recruit for, you got to go down to page 4, 5, or 6 before you find somebody who isn't a first person connection to me. Remember earlier I searched for marketing, and in Austin there was 117 people who were first person connected to me who are somehow in marketing. I don't do a lot of marketing ones, but 117 people, that would be 5 pages. That's 6 pages, right? 20 per page. So it would take, you'd have to go to page number 6 normally. So I think that that's probably just a bug today. As they're changing something, I expect it to come back. Normally what happens is you come up higher in search results when you're in a closer connection. And so the closer you're connected to recruiters and hiring managers and HR professionals and the people who are looking for you, the better off you're going to be. The bigger your network, the more people can find you. And so that myth about only connecting with people that you know is a vicious rumor that was started by LinkedIn to make sure that more people have to pay them money. I'm okay with them making money. I mean, it's all good. They just don't necessarily have to make mine or yours because we learned some things about how to work our way around it. All right. So let's talk about how to build your network. So that, what most people do is they go to the people who they know and connect with those people, and that's all good. Go find people you've worked with, people you know in the past, and build that network, and that's awesome. But the truth is that those aren't really the people who are looking for you with regard to jobs. The people who are looking for you with regard to jobs are recruiters, hiring managers, and people like that. So let me show you how you can connect with recruiters, because and the other nice thing about connecting with recruiters is if you connect with me, then my network has a couple of million people in it. And so by connecting with me, you'll become visible to a couple of million people, many of whom are IT hiring managers and all kinds of hiring managers, and many of whom are recruiters. So by connecting with recruiters, recruiters are connected with hiring managers and other recruiters. So by connecting with recruiters, you kind of exponentially grow your network. The other thing that's nice about connecting with recruiters is it's our job. And that's what we do. We connect with people. So recruiters are going to accept your connection request. You're going to get part of their network, and part of their network includes other people. So there's this weird compounding of value of your network when you connect with recruiters. So let me show you how to do it. It's really simple. Up here at the top, I'm going to put in the word recruiter, and I'm going to click this. I'm searching for people. And this just gets me to this section. What you really want to do is over here to keywords. You really want to put in the title recruiter. This should just narrow your search down. I'm going to get rid of this. Search for that. I'm going to get rid of this keyword recruiter up here. Again, this is the last time I'm complaining about it. I really hate that how they have this separate from this over here. It's really kind of weird. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my location because you can connect with recruiters all over, but you may as well start with the ones who are in your area. So I'm going to do something different. I'm going to say, where do I want to go? Indianapolis. There we go. Indianapolis. So I search for people who have the word title have the word recruiter in their title and whose location is Indianapolis, Indiana area. And I came up with 2,140 recruiter types in the Indianapolis area. Unbelievable, right? Have any idea that there's that many people who are in that space? Amazing. So here's the deal. You probably won't see as many, and the reason why is because you only see people who are part of your network. And since your network probably isn't as big as mine, you could run the same search and you're not going to get the same answers that I do. But as you start connecting with people, more and more people come up in your search results. So again, this is weird. Let me see if I got any first-person connections. And yeah, I got not many. I got 3 first-person connections with recruiters in Indianapolis. That's not surprising. But here's what I would do. The way that you would connect with them is run a search. Now you got 2,001. I got 2,140. I don't want that. So if I was really interested, maybe it's because I have that little bar up there. Is that right? No. If I was really interested in healthcare, because I'm in medical billing or coding or something, what I just did is I said I want people with the title recruiter who are in Indianapolis, Indiana, who have the keyword healthcare somewhere in their profile. And so that got it down to 332. So I got a healthcare recruiter, right? Talent acquisition recruiter at a healthcare company. So I narrowed it down to healthcare types. So I got 332. So if that's what you were looking to start with, that's not a bad set. And let me show you what you would do with this set and how you connect with them. First of all, and another thing I want to share with you is that, so sorry, let me just show you. I want to keep it simple for a second. I'm going to right click on Deborah. I'm going to open Deborah in a new tab, and I'm going to go over to Deborah's profile, and I'm going to click connect. I'm going to add a note. Hi, Deborah. It's always good to be connected with recruiters in CRUIT in Indianapolis. Let's connect. Best, Gary. Now, the reason why, and I'll show you this in a minute, but the reason why I put this all on one line instead of doing that is that LinkedIn has kind of changed the way that people see who's trying to connect with them. It shows you a little preview box. I'll show you that in a second. And if I basically space this all out, all she would see on the short one is, hi, Deborah. So this way she sees my whole message even before she accepts my connection request. So now I'm going to put that into my copy buffer. I hit Control C. It's the same thing as coming over here and saying copy. And I'm going to send that invitation. And now that I sent it, I'm going to close that message and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to open Garrett in a new tab. And I'm going to actually Glenn Garrett. I'm going to connect. I'm going to add a note. I'm going to paste that other note. And I'm going to say, hi, Glenn. It's always good to be connected. And I'm going to go down this list. Now, as I continue to go down that list, eventually what's going to happen is that LinkedIn is going to start asking me for an email address for these people. So some people have their account set up so that you have to have their email address before you can send them a connection request. Otherwise, once you send out a bunch of connection requests in any one day, LinkedIn sometimes starts asking you for email address. Well, if you've connected or reached out to so many people it's asking you for your email address, congratulate yourself, go do something fun, stop for the day and come back tomorrow, because it's going to continue to insist that you have people's email address. I don't know what the number is, but it's somewhere around 100, 150, 200, something like that. It seems to vary by day. It used to be 300. It's a lot. And so just congratulate yourself if you do that. The other thing I was going to tell you is that once you run a search, and with a free account, there's this thing that's called the commercial search limit. And what that means is if you run a bunch of searches, they want you to pay for it. And they pop up this thing that says, oh, sorry, you've reached the commercial search limit, and you can no longer really run searches without paying them money. And so let me show you a way around that. So when I bring up this search, if I just click Deborah and I go to her profile like that, and then I click back, it runs the search again. So I ran the search, I went to Deborah and I ran it again. So that's the second time. If I go to Glenn and I come back, it runs the search again. That's three times now that we've run that search. If I click on Joe and now I come back, that's 4, it ran it again. So if you operate that way, then you'll run out of searches in a hurry. What you need to do instead is I ran the search, let's say one time, and now when I click on Deborah and I open her in a new tab, I connect with Deborah in a new tab, and then I just close the new tab. I didn't rerun my search. The other trick that you might want is that if you right click on it and open in a new tab, the shortcut version of that is if you're on a PC, you hold down Control. If you're on a Mac, you hold down Command, and you just, while I'm holding down the Control key and I click it, it opens it in a new tab. See, right there, it's opening it. And so now what I do as a recruiter is I just go, I hold down the Control key and I go click, 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 click. Lori Richter, click, click, click. And I open them all up. And now what I do is if I'm in a real hurry, instead of personalizing with people's names, come on, Erica, here's what I'll do. I will take my little note that I put, I'm going to go ahead and paste it there. I get rid of the name altogether if I'm in a hurry. I copy that into my copy buffer and I send that invitation, and then I can click this and close the tab, or I can hit Control W and close it. And I can go to this one, and since she's third level to me, remember it's going to say InMail. I have to come over here to get to connect because LinkedIn thinks I can't figure that out, and they think you can't figure that out. And there I sent that connection request. Control W to close the window. I'm going to connect with Carrie. I'm going to add a note. I'm going to paste that note. I'm just showing you how fast this is. This is how you need to do it, because you can connect with thousands of recruiters in a single week if you do this, and most of them will accept your connection request, and then you'll have a big network and people will find you when they're looking for you. Paste, right, send that invitation, Control W, connect with Brandy. Hi Brandy, I wish I had time to type your name, I don't. Send invitation, Logan, you're going to be my friend and you're going to do something good and we're going to have some fun and we're going to make some money together. Thanks, Logan. And then Joe, look at that. Joe's a good guy. I'm certain that he is. He's going to accept my connection request. I hope he's having a good day. I'm already pending with Glenn, and I close that and off we go. And I will go to page number 2 and bang, 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 bang. In about 10 minutes, I can connect with about 200 people, maybe 20 minutes, something like that. And then it's going to start asking me for email addresses, and you declare done for the day, and you treat yourself because you just connected with a bunch of recruiters. And those recruiters are the people who are looking for you. All right. So the other thing that you can do is, are we good on that, Kelly? Is everybody all right? We got any questions, comments about that?
No, I think we're all good.
Okay, cool. Hello, everyone. Hope you're along with me and that you're learning some stuff. The reason why we want to connect with the recruiters is because recruiters are the people who are looking for you. Recruiters have large networks. They're connected with other people. You get this exponential thing. And I just reached out to 15, maybe 20 recruiters who I'm not connected to. By the end of this session, a couple of those are going to be connected with me because they're going to accept my connection request. And by Monday, or next week, probably 70% of them will have accepted my connection request, and I'll have added their entire network to my network, and everybody in their network can now see me and I can see them, and everyone's happier because we're now connected. So the other thing you want to do is connect with hiring managers. And so, what that means is it depends upon what kind of job it is that you're looking for. So let's assume for a moment that you're in a medical billing and coding type session, or office manager, or things like that. And let's say that you're interested in working in doctors' offices and clinics, right? So if you're looking to work in those kinds of places, then who is the hiring manager? Well, if you're doing medical billing and coding and you're in clinics and things like that, I don't know who it is, but it might be the office manager. So let's see what we can come up with. So I'm going to say office manager, and that just got me here, so I can get rid of that because I don't know how else to get to this particular search. I'm going to put in, office manager as the title, and I'm going to put in Indianapolis. I'm going to stay with that same location. I'm going to put in office manager without a period, and I got 4,527 people. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to narrow this down. I'm going to say healthcare, HealCare, HEAL, healthcare. I got 332 office managers at Solutions Healthcare Management, office manager HR at Highland, office manager, financial advisors, right? So I don't know if all of these are healthcare companies, but a lot of them are. There's healthcare companies, right? So I could have put in healthcare, I could have put in a hospital, I could have put in clinic, I could have put in all kinds of stuff. So I can say healthcare, clinic, hospital. I got 5, so that's the reason why I wanted to narrow it down too much. What if I put in healthcare and clinic? There's 14, and they're probably all under healthcare. But my point is that you can narrow it down to some set if you want to, and then you can either take your time, and there's nothing wrong with this. You can take your time and you can check out Diana Meadows a little bit. She's the office manager at Solutions Healthcare Management. And since she's somebody who might be of real value to you, she's the office manager for Solutions Healthcare Management. If you really want to be in medical billing and coding or work in that kind of organization, she might be a great connection with you. And you might bother by connecting with her and saying, "Hi, Diana, I see that you've been with Healthcare Solutions Management for over 16 years. I'm looking to build my network in that space. Thanks for connecting." And send her a more personalized message, and you might get her attention better. Or what you can do is, if you're in a hurry, you can click connect and you can add a note and you can paste the thing that I had before. And it's always good to be connected with office managers in Indianapolis. Then I'm going to take that, I'm going to copy that, and off we go. I just sent a connection request to Diana. And, she may or may not accept my connection request. It's okay with me either way. And I'll make my way through this list, and I can go connect with a couple of hundred office managers who might be the type of. So you got to decide what's the title of the person who's likely to be hiring you. So if you're in IT, right, and you're looking for IT, you might say IT manager in Indianapolis is where we're still at. I got 131. All right, go connect with all these IT managers, and then I can change it to IT director. I'm not going to find any. If I spell it wrong, and there's IT directors, I got 67 of them. So there's like 200 people you could connect to who are hiring managers for IT professionals, right? And I only use 2 titles, IT director, IT manager. There's a ton more. I mean, who else is hiring managers? Sometimes it's senior network engineer. Sometimes it's, figure out who the people are, who are the people who are likely to be your hiring manager and looking for you, and connect with them. So that's how you do it. And that will not only build your network, it gets you to the top of the list for the people who you have, who are looking for you. All right. So that's that. So let's dive into this final meaty section of stuff that we have to talk about. And this might be a way of looking at and leveraging LinkedIn that perhaps you've never thought about before. We actually have another session that we do that's called Effective Job Search Strategies. And effective job search strategies is really diving into what I'm about to give you the shorthand version of. So if what we dive into right now resonates with you, then please join us for Effective Job Search Strategies, and we'll talk about this in exhaustive detail. Let me start by saying that if I was looking for a new job opportunity, this is how I would go about my search. I wouldn't search for jobs online. I wouldn't apply for jobs online. I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying I wouldn't. And the reason why I'm saying that is that what I'm about to show you is so important that it pales. Every other way of trying to find an opportunity pales in comparison to this one. And here's what I guarantee you. I guarantee you that if you really do some of the things that we're about to talk about, and again, we'll show you a lot more detail on it in the Effective Job Search Strategies class, but if you really do some of this stuff, it's going to make a significant and material difference in how fast and how many different opportunities you have in front of you. Because the goal, if you're looking to change jobs or land a job, the goal isn't to have one offer and accept it. The goal is to have multiple offers and to have choice. And so the only way you can do that is by taking responsibility for your own job search and taking it into your own hands. Honestly, this is essentially taking what I do as a recruiter and flipping it the other way. So let me show you how this works. I'm going to show you how to find and create opportunities. So let's start with the idea that you're going to be looking for jobs online, because that's probably what you're familiar with. And so we'll start with what you're familiar with, and I'm going to show you maybe how to do it better. So I'm just going to go look for jobs in LinkedIn. Actually, no, I'm not. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Google. Have you noticed Google's new job search engine? It really rocks. I like it a lot. It's my favorite. It's better than LinkedIn's. It's better than Indeed. I like it a lot. System administrator, Indianapolis. I'm just gonna leave it at that. And so when I say system administrator, Google brings me back all kinds of stuff. But what it does right here, it has this job section. If you hit this title bar up here, look at this really, really nice tool that Google has that they released not long ago. I can search by category, I can search by title, I can search by city, right? I'm going to say the city is Indianapolis. I can search by date that is posted, all kinds of stuff, right? I can narrow it down to all kinds. It's the best job search tool that that's out there. So so now if I see this Linux System Administrator at the University, Indiana University at Indianapolis, Indiana, all right? I can do a couple of things. Now, the thing that a lot of people would do, I mean, I can read it more. And by the way, most job descriptions are not very well written. The way that they get to be is that a hiring manager finally gets permission to hire, and they say, oh, it's a system administrator, and HR says, well, tell us about the job, we'll get it posted. And they say, well, what did we post last time? And the HR department says, well, we posted this one, and the hiring manager doesn't even look at it. And they say, well, just post that again. And so sometimes don't read too much into job descriptions. I've seen ones where it's really all about like a Linux administrator, and it wasn't really a Linux position at all. So just know that lots of job descriptions out there are not, they're not well written. They aren't really reflective of the job. So take them with a grain of salt, right? Take it with a grain of salt. You don't really know. But you have a couple of choices at this point. One is you could click View on Career Builder. And you can go over here to Career Builder, and you can say apply now. And what it's going to do is you have to apply as a guest, and you have to upload your resume and all that. Here's what happens on the other end of this. What you don't know, and the way that it works for us as recruiters, is when you apply for this online this way, it's essentially going to send us an email message. And we have to pull your resume out of the email message, and we have to put it into our applicant tracking system, because we all use applicant tracking systems. Any company that's over about 30 or 40 people has an applicant tracking system. And it's way more trouble for me when you send it to me through Career Builder than it is when you come to my site directly. So my suggestion would be never ever apply through the Career Builders and the Indeeds of the world. It might be easier for you, but it's harder on the receiving end. So if you wanted to apply for this job online, go to Indiana University's website and go to their career section, look for it, and apply directly. because you're helping the recruiter on the other end immensely, and you'll get a lot more attention when you go direct than when you go through any of these indirect sites. So avoid them when you can, unless you're just in that much of a hurry, or if it's a position you don't care about that much. And if it's a position you don't care about that much, don't apply for it. So even better than that, though, let me show you what to really do with this. So here's what we know. I got a Linux system administrator, and I didn't run this ahead of time. We're doing this live, so I'm crossing my fingers that this one works out well for us, but it will. And if it doesn't, we'll just do another one. So Indiana University in Indianapolis, Indiana. So I'm going to search for that, and I'm going to, I'm sorry. Here's what I'm really going to do. What I'm really going to do is I'm going to go home here. I don't know why I was going over there. And what I'm going to search for is recruiter. And I'm just going to enter so I can get over to my advanced search, because it's the only irritating. I said I would never do that again. I wouldn't say that again. So I'm going to say recruiter. I'm going to put in the title recruiter. I'm going to get rid of this where it says recruiter up there. And the company is going to be Indiana University. And I'm going to run my search. What did I get? 49 results. Executive recruiter, Indiana University Foundation, Indiana Wesleyan University, recruiter, Indiana University, Health recruiter, graduate recruiter, nurse recruiter. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to search through here, and I'm going to find recruiters. There's an associate recruiter at Indiana University. So there's, hi, Katie. We're going to be friends. Talent acquisition consultant at Indiana University Health. Maybe not. Academic advisor, don't want her. Recruiter, Insight Global, Indiana State office coordinator, maybe, probably not. But what I'm going to go is whatever company it is, I'm going to go through and I'm going to try to find technical recruiter at Brooksource. So how does that make any sense? But I'm going to go try to find the recruiters. So in this particular case, what I found was I found Katie. And I might work this a little bit further, but she's got an associate recruiter, Katie, and she is, she used to be over at Indiana University. University didn't work so particularly well, but the point is that when you find a job that's posted somewhere, you can usually do some research and go find the recruiter who's responsible for it. So let's see if we can't, we could pretend it was Noelle, but she's at Indiana University Health. Probably not. So let's just go pick another one, why don't we? And go see if we can't find a better example. System administrator, Windows system administrator at Leidos, right? Don't really know. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to LinkedIn. We're going to say recruiter, Indiana University, but we're going to change that to Leidos. There we go, sourcing recruiter at Leidos. They're all over the place. There's a whole bunch of them. So I'm going to go see if there happens to be one in Indiana Polis. Don't happen to be one in Indianapolis. Bummer. But I got a bunch of them. And here we go, senior recruiter at Leidos. One of them has to be in Austin, Texas. So what I know is that one of these recruiters at Leidos is responsible for that particular position. And so what I'm going to do is I will probably spend a little bit more time on it, trying to narrow it down a little bit. I might try to say something like it was an IT position, so I might say TECHN. Technical recruiter. There we got it, 19. Got it. So what I'm going to do is I got a senior technical recruiter at Leidos. And so what I'm going to do is I would go connect with all of these people. So Jeffrey Bees, he's a senior technical recruiter at Leidos. I'm going to send him a connection request right here. And I'm going to say, hi, Jeff, it's always good to be connected with technical recruiters. When Jeff connects with me, then I'll be able to see what his email address is over here. And when I see what his email address is, I can send him an email message. And when I send him an email message, here's what I know about him, is that he is a technical recruiter inside of a company that's got a job posted for a Windows system administrator. So I would reach out to Jeffrey and I would say, hey, Jeffrey, I'm a Windows system administrator in Indianapolis, Indiana, because that's probably why I'm searching for in Indianapolis. I'm just doing a little bit of networking. Perhaps you or someone you know would be interested in talking to me about how I solve Windows administration challenges. Thanks so much. And notice I didn't tell him that I saw a job that was posted, because all that does is begs him to say, well, why don't you go apply online? Go to the end of the line, job seeker. Whereas instead, I want serendipity to happen for Jeffrey, because there's some chance that Jeffrey is the recruiter who's responsible for that position. So it adds no value to his life to tell him I saw the job that was posted online. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to him. I'm going to connect with him on LinkedIn. And then what I'm going to do is, once he's connected, I'm going to send in an email message, and I'm going to say, Jeffrey, this is Gary O'Neill. I'm a Windows administrator in Indianapolis, Indiana, just doing a little bit of networking. Perhaps you or someone you know would be interested in talking to me about how I solve Windows administration problems. Thanks so much, Gary. I'll put him on my list. I'm going to follow up with him a couple of times, and I'm going to touch this guy several different times. I'm going to do the same thing with Sherry, and then I've got 17 more to go. So I would go to Heather, I'd go to Glenn, I'd go to Alexandro, I would go to Brenda Blay, and I would essentially try to connect with them all. Here's what we know. One of these people is either responsible for that job or knows the person who's responsible for the job. So we're gonna, if we apply online, we're gonna be number 357th in line. Nobody's going to pay any attention to us. We're going to get no callback like we ever do. And what I know is that by reaching out to one of these recruiters directly, these recruiters are really busy. The type of people who they're looking for are people who are motivated, does what it takes to get the job done, and will be super easy to work with. By reaching out to them and connecting with them direct, I promise you, you get their attention a whole lot more than applying for the job online, because when they have 300 people who have applied for the job online, they're going to look at maybe 20 of them and they're going to hire one of those 20 is really what's going to happen. So yeah, reach out to them directly. So when you find a job that is posted online, go search for the company, go search for the title of the people, and go see. Sometimes you're lucky and it's a smaller company and they've only got one recruiter and you know exactly who it is that posted that job. All right. So another thing you can do is you can not only connect with a recruiter, but you can probably connect with a hiring manager, and you can probably connect with a peer. So sticking with that same example, we have this job that was a Windows System Administrator at Leidos in Indianapolis, Indiana. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go search for, not technical recruiter, but I'm going to search for IT at company Leidos in Indianapolis, and see if I can't come up with somebody who is actually in Indianapolis. No results found, so I'm going to say Windows. Maybe there's another one. Oh, there's not another one. IT, we already tried that. Help desk. Already tried that, and let's just try manager. Didn't find that. And so I wonder if they have any employees in Indianapolis. It doesn't. Oh, no wonder. It's got this stupid thing up there, still keeps that up there, and I'm not going to quit complaining about that. I'm going to put in Leidos, the company, and Indianapolis. Here's what we just learned. The company Leidos in Indianapolis has no one working there whatsoever. So you will be the one and only employee in Indiana. I'm not sure why they want somebody there, but you know, you never know. So what I can do instead is I'll get rid of this location and I will go search for IT manager and RPO delivery manager. That's not what I'm looking for. IT with Leidos, the company. I got 7 talent acquisition specialist, recruiter at Leidos. It put recruiter back again. Why does it keep doing that? LinkedIn is going all crazy today. All right, I got IT project manager, and what I could do is I got a bunch to go through. I could either mess with my searches and narrow it down, or I can go through this list. And here's an IT manager at Leidos up in Washington, D.C. And so I'm going to put him over here on the side. And I'm going to go through this list, and I'm going to say, I'm going to find IT applications manager. I'm going to see if I can't find somebody who's likely hiring manager or who IT program manager. Let's put that one in there. And I'm going to find a list of people who are either, here's one, Michael Waters, who are either the likely hiring manager or is likely to know the hiring manager. And so then what I would do is for these individuals, I would send a connection request. I'd say, hi, Charles, it's always good to be connected with IT managers, and let's connect. And when he connects with me, I'll send him an email message because I have his email address. I'll say, Charles, hi, my name's Gary O'Neill. I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana. I heard a rumor that Leidos might be looking for a Windows administrator in the Indianapolis area. If you or anybody know anything about that, I would certainly welcome a conversation. My number is this. Here's how to get a hold of me. Thanks so much, Charles. I'll follow up with you next week, and I'm going to put on my list of people to follow up with next week. Hey, look, somebody see what happens when somebody accepted my connection request. See you in Austin, great city. Been here a couple of times, loved it. Is that somebody I connected with today? Oh yeah, I connected with Kerry today. Did you see that? Look at that. Kerry Fleming, Indianapolis, Indiana. He just connected up with me. I sent him a general connection request. Check it out. We connected with him like 10 minutes ago. Glad to connect with you, Gary. Thanks for the invite. I see you're in Austin. Great. I've been there a couple of times. Loved it. Have a great weekend. I'm just going to give him a thumbs up because he's a good guy. Kerry. So see how that works? Now what I could have, if I was actually looking for that job, I would reconnect with this guy to reply and say, hey, Kerry, thanks so much. I see you're an executive recruiter, blah, blah, thanks for, and all of a sudden I have a dude who is a recruiter and knows other recruiters in Indianapolis, and I can now get to have a dialogue with this person. Look at that. It couldn't happen any better. But my whole point on this other one is go find the person who's the likely hiring manager or knows the likely hiring manager, connect with them, find out what their email address is, and reach out to them. The funny thing is, people like people. The other thing that's important for you to know is that people say, but I don't know if they're hiring. Well, no, you don't. I don't either. I don't know if anybody's looking for a job. I don't know if they're open to making a move. So the truth is, you don't know anything. Here's what you also don't know. We're not to that point yet, but I'm just saying you can reach out to recruiters in general. You can reach out to hiring managers in general. You can reach out to all kinds of people in general. And here's what I can tell you about them is that average length of employment these days is, depending upon the role, somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.5, 3.5 to 4 years. And so that means that at any given time, most hiring managers are going to be experiencing 25 to 30% turnover per year. If you do that per month and they have 10 people working for them, that means that they're going to have 3 people leave this year, which means every 4 months they've got somebody who's leaving. So, or moving on, or about to get fired, or maybe they just closed a big deal. You have no idea who's going to be hiring. But what I can tell you is that not everyone, but most of the hiring managers who I know, and I'm a hiring manager, we normally know months in advance that we're likely to need to make a hire, either because we got some problems that need to be solved, our team is overworked, we're closing new business. I know that, John isn't happy and John's probably about to leave, or I know that I'm not happy with John and I'm probably going to let him go. I know months in advance. So way before jobs are ever posted, hiring managers know that they're going to need to hire someone and they're not looking for anyone. So what happens is that if you get in front of them and you send them a well-crafted professional message and you're just doing a little bit of networking, when they know that they're likely to need to make a hire, it will feel like to them that serendipity has happened and they're going to connect with you and have conversations with you. And there are times when a hiring manager, rather than going and getting permission to open a job, will take you in hand and go get permission to hire you. Because the truth is that it's harder to get if you're the hiring manager and you're going to your boss or the CFO or whoever it is that makes the decision, it's harder to get them to just open up a job in general than it is to say, hey, I met Gary and I'd like you to meet with him, and I think he might be a great addition to the team. So it's far easier as a hiring manager to take a specific person and go get permission to hire a specific person than it is to go generically get permission to hire someone and open a job. So by changing your strategy from looking to open jobs and applying online to finding the kinds of people who hire people like you and reaching out to them and touching base with hundreds of them, you can dramatically change what's going to happen to you with regard to your career, because you'll be getting to the front of the line, which is talking to the hiring manager, before there ever even is a line, which means your competition is going to be a whole lot less, because by the time a job is posted, usually the hiring manager's hair is on fire. They're already out of time. They're going to have to settle for the person who's good enough. And in particular, if you're in career transition and you don't have a ton of proven work experience, there's probably going to be, by the time the job is posted, there are going to be people in line who do. So if you work this strategy, you're getting in the line before there is a line, when the person has time to bring on the right motivated human being who reached out to them, who has the skills and the ability to work, and they still have a little bit of room and a little bit of runway to bring on somebody who isn't an absolutely perfect fit for the job. So when you're in a career transition, there's no better strategy than this. All right, so I'll get off that soapbox and just show you how to do it. So it works exactly the same. It's you're connecting with hiring managers and you're connecting with recruiters. You can also target companies. And what you can do to target companies is, when you're looking for target companies, you're looking for companies that have the kinds of problems that you solve. So as an example, the one that I often use, if you've been in some of my sessions, is I'll use Volusion in Austin. So when you start typing a company name, most companies have a page in LinkedIn. So here's, if I start typing in Volusion, here's Volusion right here. I can click on their page. And what happens is that if I'm looking for target companies, let's say that I know Volusion is a good target company, that they hire people like me, that they have the kind of work that would be interesting to me, then what you can do is you can scroll down on their page, and over here on the right-hand side, there is people also viewed. They viewed BigCommerce, Shopify, Magento, Spreadfast, 3Cart, and Bazaarvoice. And so now what you can do is you can kind of go, oh, Spreadfast, I've never heard of them. I wonder what they do. I wonder if they hire people like me. And what you would do is you would explore Spreadfast, and you'd say, yeah, they hire a lot of IT people. Are they in my location? Yeah, they're actually in Austin, Texas. Okay, great. So now you add Spreadfast to your list of target companies. And you can kind of go, people also viewed Sprinklr, Sprout Social, Bazaarvoice, Hootsuite, those kinds of things. Well, what about Sprinklr? I wonder if they're a good target company for me. Oh, wow, look, they do hire IT professionals and the rest. And let's see, do they have an office, and are they in, they're headquartered in New York. I don't know if they have anybody in Austin. I could investigate that, but man, maybe not. What about Sprout Social? I can go check them out. So my point here is that it's really easy that once you know one target company, you can jump to other target companies by looking in this list. What about Bazaarvoice, right? And let's just say that I'm restricting my search to Austin, Texas, because that's where I'm at and that's where I live, and I don't really feel like moving. I would find out that they definitely hire IT professionals, and lots of them, and oh, ding, 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 they happen to be in Austin, Texas. So a lot of these competitors, so when you find a company, what you do is you can go, if they're a good target company, scroll down, come look at this section over here, people also viewed, and generally a lot of these companies are going to be in the same area where you're at, and sometimes there will be companies that you've never heard of before. When you go check out HomeAway, you've probably heard of HomeAway. They're an Austin success story. Expedia, Amazon, and sometimes you start getting in this loop of these really big companies, and it's a good idea to kind of scale it back to some smaller local companies and continue to find target companies. So you can use one target company to find other target companies. So that's one way of finding target companies. Another way to find target companies is put in the type of, put in the role. Let's say it's IT help desk. Let's say put in the type of role that you're looking for. Go assign people with this title, IT help desk. And I'm going to put in the location, Indianapolis, because that's the one we've been using today. Indianapolis, Indiana. Let me put that in. And so now I got IT help desk. So I got 62 of them. So here are target companies. So what a target company is a company who hires people who do what you do. So I got LPH Software. I would add them to the list. I've got Determine. There's one. I'd add them to the list. IT Help Desk Manager at Custom Systems USA. Right here, IT Help Desk at Activate Healthcare. I've got another one here, help desk at Citizens Bank, Indiana. I've got another one at SMDG LCC. Ever heard of them, right? Got one at Lids Sport Group, and I got one at Vincent's Hospital. So another way of creating target companies is those companies who already have people who do what you do are clearly target companies because they obviously hire people who do what you do. And so once you have that list, what you do is let's just pick which one of these do we want to pick? Let's pick Activate Healthcare at random. And so now what I would do is I would go to Activate Healthcare. I'm going to put in recruiter and see what I come up with. Didn't have any recruiter in Indianapolis. Activate Healthcare might be bigger than that. Works intern at Activate Healthcare. Nah, that didn't do me any good. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to put in IT for Activate Healthcare. And bang, I got a help desk. I got VP of IT. There we go. Bang, I got it. There is the likely hiring manager. And I could reach out to Terry. And I would say, hey, Terry, it's always good to be connected with, IT leaders in Indianapolis. Let's connect. And I would connect with her. And when she connects back with me, I would connect with Rodney. Well, I would connect with Rodney. I would connect with Scott. And all of a sudden, I'm connecting with people at a company that hires people like me. And then I would go on and I'd do the same thing. So my point is that it's really, really easy. And I'm not saying it's not work, but it's really easy to identify companies that hire people like you, to identify the people who are the likely hiring manager and the recruiter and peers, send them connection requests, get their email addresses, send them email messages, and just get out there, get after it, and get network. I mean, the truth is that this is the way that we go about recruiting. So this is really just kind of recruiting in reverse, right? It's just recruiting in reverse. So you can find target companies, and once you found target companies, you want to connect with a recruiter, connect with a hiring manager, connect with a peer. And here's the deal. Hiring managers want to hire people who take who do what it takes to get the job done. If they're in the mode where they might be looking to hire actively or soon, then it will feel like serendipity to them. Reach out to them and off you go. So my suggestion to you is here's a simple 3-step campaign that you could use. It goes something like this. Your subject might be networking for an IT administration support position. Now, if you found that they hire people that are called IT help desk, then you would change this to networking for IT help desk and support position. So tune it a little bit if you have the time to do it. My name is Gary O'Neill. I'm a certified Microsoft administrator and IT security specialist. I help companies get the most out of their computing investments. I'm networking. See if you know somebody who might be interested in talking to me about how I can solve Windows network IT security issues. So bam, there's message number 1 that goes out. Message number 2. I set it up as a reply to the previous message that I sent out. Just following up from a message I sent last week. I know you're busy. Don't mean to be a bother. I'm just networking for a new career opportunity and a company that could use my help. I'm a certified, there you go. There's message number 2. Message number 3, and I would send by the way, if I sent one today, I'd probably send another one like on Thursday, and then I'd probably send one the latter part of next week because it needs to be close enough that they might remember me. So, but not so much that I'm bugging them. My third message is what's called the takeaway close, and it's based upon this concept that people want what they can't have. And you're going to get about as much response to this third message as you do to the first message. And again, it's going to be a reply to your same message, so it goes in the same thread. It might, show them that you've reached out to them multiple times. I'm still networking for an IT professor who might be interested in talking with me. I don't want to be a bother to you, so this will be my last message. I'm a certified Windows administrator, blah, blah, blah. Thank you for your time and consideration. Clearly, you're signing this thing with your contact information, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes what's going to happen when you send this third message out is you're going to get a reply, and your reply is going to start with, I'm so sorry. I've been meaning to get back to you. I've just been busy. So when they're not responding, don't assume it's because they don't care or they don't like you or they're not looking for anybody. There's all kinds of horrible things you can tell yourself about why they're not getting back to you. The main reason why they're not getting back to you is because they're busy. And so you owe it to them to reach out to them a couple of times to give them a chance to connect with you because you're a motivated individual who could really help their organization. And so, in that fleeting moment where they sent you an email message that started with, "Hey, I'm so sorry," you have a moment where you got the leg up and you can say, "Hey, that's all right. Just doing a little bit of networking. I really do appreciate that. Hey, have you got time for a quick chat sometime soon?" And, and all of a sudden, the next thing you know is you have the opportunity to talk to somebody who's a hiring manager or a peer or a recruiter in a company that hires people like you, and they likely know other people. So that's how that game is played. So let's see what else was on this list here. I think that's the end of that. So we got a couple of minutes. It's wrapping up here just a little bit early. So let me just summarize for you. Two sides of LinkedIn. One is being easy to be found, and the other is using LinkedIn to find others. Of the two, reaching out to other people and taking control of your job search is by far the more powerful, because waiting is not a strategy. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to wait for somebody to get back to me. I don't want to wait for them to choose me. I don't want to wait for them. And I not only want one opportunity, I want choice, and I want to have two or three that I'm going to choose from. So if what I do is if I go find one and then two and then three and then 4 and 5 and 6 and 12 and 14 and 24 and 38 and 60 and 70 target companies and 3 people each one, all of a sudden I have 210 people who I'm reaching out to. I'm sending messages. Something is going to happen. Something great is going to happen. And so I can't encourage you enough to take control of your own destiny and to reach out to people and to not wait in line where you're just applying for a job online. I'm not saying don't apply on jobs. I'm saying don't just apply for jobs online. So that's the most important part of what we had to talk about today, is that side of things. The other thing we talked about is the be easy to be found part, which is, that's a good idea too. But you got to wait, but still do it. And the way that you do that is by focusing more on making sure that your profile comes up at the top of search results, and worry a lot less about what it says when somebody finds it. Because you can have a beautiful LinkedIn profile on page number 10 and no one is going to reach out to you ever. I mean, why would they go to page 10? That doesn't make any sense. And so to get high in search results, you need multiple titles, you need a current position, you need your zip code in the right place, you need a searchable headline, you need to be connected with people, you need a big network, you need to be first person connected with them. And so there's all kinds of stuff that you can do to make sure that when someone is searching like you, you will show up in front of them. So that if you're lucky, somebody reaches out to you. And in the meantime, what you're doing is you're working the system so that you can take control of your own destiny and not wait for others to choose you, because you've not only got the right, you kind of got the obligation to get out there and help some people. So all of that stuff, if that resonates with you in terms of kind of taking control of your job search and really doing that, we go over all of this stuff in a lot more detail in Effective Job Search Strategies, and I hope to see you there. We also do Resumes That Rock. We also do one called Acing Your Interview. And New Horizons has a bunch of really great career advisors and career services professionals who can help you. And so I would encourage you to reach out to your career services professionals at New Horizons and work with them, and they can, really help guide you along the way in this regard as well. Kelly, how are we doing? We got any questions or anything out there as we're wrapping up?
We do, but before we get to those, just want to thank everyone again for joining us today. If you guys have any questions, we'll remain on the line for the next few minutes and try and get those answered. Gary had mentioned a few of our upcoming webinars. I wanted to let you guys know, if you visit newhorizons.com, just click on the webinars link there, and you'll be able to see a full list of upcoming sessions and register for them. The next one we have coming up is Resumes That Rock on November 3rd. And then we've got Acing the Interview on November 17th, and then we've got Effective Job Search Strategy on December 15th. It also lists a bunch of other webinars on there as well that relate to the products that we train on, so feel free to register for any of those. These are all free to you. There you will also see a link to our webinar archive library. So this is over 50 of our past webinar recordings that you guys can view as well. So be sure to check that out. If you aren't familiar with New Horizons or who your local career advisor is, please visit newhorizons.com. You can do a zip code search and find the center nearest you and reach out to them. they'll be happy to help you. So let's get to some of those questions before we wrap things up. We had a question regarding the messages that you send.
Uh-huh.
When should message 3 be sent? Like, how far after should message 3 be sent from message 2?
I mean, I don't think it matters a whole lot, but I'd usually send the first message and then the next message, certainly with the inside of a week. It's kind of when you're going to sit down and do it. I think if it were me, I would schedule days that I'm going to do that. Hey, look at that! I got another one popped up. Do you see these? See how this works? Look at this. In Indianapolis, I sent a message to Logan a while ago. I didn't even customize it. Hi, it's always good to be connected with recruiters in Indianapolis. Let's connect. Best Gary. I couldn't agree more, Gary. Thank you. Right? There you go. It's so easy, right? It's so easy. The next thing you know, you'll be connected to, you'll be connected to 700 recruiters in Indianapolis, and you won't know why because you don't live there. But anyway, I'm kidding. But see, look at that. That's 2 of them who have already responded to me out of the ones that I sent out. So I sent out about 10. That's about 20% of the people who are already over the weekend. So there's that. Going back to the question that you had, which was, oh my God, I drew a total blank. What did
Regarding
you
the
ask me?
messages, when to send the
Oh,
message.
yeah, I'm so sorry. So my number one suggestion would be just have days that you're scheduled to do it and just do the next one on the next day. If you sit down a couple of days a week and do it, then that would be all good. I would probably let it rest for at least 3 days. I probably wouldn't let it rest for any more than 1 week. If you let it go more than 1 week, people's email gets buried, and what it will be is it won't actually be your second message. It will be your first message, if you know what I mean, because it needs to be on the heels of, so it somehow kind of prompts them that maybe you've reached out to them before. So 3 to 5 days.
All right. This next question we get quite often. Is it more beneficial to have LinkedIn Premium than just the free version?
um you know here's the thing that LinkedIn Premium buys for you. That thing I talked to you about earlier, which was the commercial search limit, it gets rid of that, so you no longer have to worry about the commercial search limit. So if you keep bumping into the commercial search limit and you don't feel like doing what I showed you, which is open everybody in separate tabs and stuff like that, or if you run into it anyway, congratulations, one, you're doing a lot of searching. So it gets you around that. So that's the number one thing that it might be useful for. The other thing that it will do is, just like Google, you can kind of have paid or sponsored to get you a little higher on the list. So it'll move you up a little bit higher on the list. But that's not of a whole lot of value. I mean, as a recruiter, if you have to buy your way to the top, kind of going, yeah, you bought your way to the top. However, if you are a veteran, there is free. So if it were free, I'd say yes. So there's certainly value in it. It's just not worth a whole lot of money. Free LinkedIn for military work. So search Google for free LinkedIn for veterans, free LinkedIn for military, and you can get a free subscription for a year. So if you can get a free subscription, absolutely. If you don't get a free subscription, the number one reason to do it would be if you keep bumping into the commercial search limit. Another way if you keep bumping into the commercial search limit is, interestingly enough, Google searches LinkedIn better than LinkedIn searches LinkedIn. So check this out. I can say recruiter in Indianapolis, recruiter Indianapolis. And then what I do is I add in this magic little phrase here that says site : linkedin.com/n, and look at that. It brings me back Mark and Jessica and Maddie and Tracy, and these are going to be recruiters in Indianapolis. So lo and behold, it's running a little bit slow. There's Jessica. Lo and behold, Staff President, Talent Acquisition, Executive Talent Person. Oh, look, Anna Nielsen. Hey, she connected with me. See, there's another recruiter. Look at that, connected with me. Thanks, Anna. So by what I just did, if you saw, is I use Google to search LinkedIn. So I just said recruiter Indianapolis site : linkedin.com/n. That does a site search. It limits my results to things that come from here. All LinkedIn profiles are in linkedin.com/n. And if you run in the commercial search limit, it kind of doesn't really matter because Google searches LinkedIn better than LinkedIn does. So upgrade the account if you bump into the commercial search limit. That's the main reason to do it. The other thing that they'll do is they sell you InMail, so you can send an InMail message. Well, my suggestion to you in that is that the response rates I get on connecting with people, I've tested this, the response rates that I get on connecting with people is about the same as what I get when I send them an in-mail message. An in-mail message basically costs you money. If you have a get an account, you get 10 or 15 of them, whatever. And my suggestion to you is that 10 or 15 only scratches the surface. You need to be messaging a couple of hundred people anyway. So since that 10 or 15 doesn't do you any good, don't worry about it. Just connect with them instead, and then you get your email address. One other quick little tip that I'm going to show you is that there are tools that exist out in the world. You don't have to pay attention to what I'm doing right now, but I'm bringing up a plugin. This is Chrome, and it's this thing that I have to manage my plugin. So if you want to know about that, send me a connection request and ask me about it. But I just loaded a tool that I use. It's called SalesLift.io, and what SalesLift does is it adds this little button here that's going to come up in a minute that says Get Email. And so what it's going to do is, it doesn't know his email address. It might know Jessica's. So what you can do is you can use SalesLift or Hunter.io or a bunch. Then you don't even need to connect with them or whatever it is. It essentially adds a email button here, and it's pretty good at going and finding people's email addresses. So Jessica's email for you, there it is. Just got to copy that into my copy buffer, and I go straight into my email right here, and I compose a new message, and I paste a message, and now I'm emailing Jessica directly, and I didn't even need to be connected with her. So we'll go into that in effective job search strategies too. So this is a long way of answering. If you're a veteran, please get the free account. If you run into the commercial search limit, either upgrade your account or use Google to search LinkedIn.
All right.
What else you got?
All right. We have we actually have gone over time. Yeah, but real quick,
Yeah, we have. Sorry.
we had a bunch of questions regarding resumes. So I just wanted to again point everyone to our Resumes That Rock webinar. It's coming up in 2 weeks from today on November 3rd. So visit newhorizons.com, click on the webinars link there. You can sign up for any upcoming sessions there, or you can view past webinar recordings. We also have a bunch of our webinar recordings available for you to view at any time as well. So want to thank everyone for joining us today. We really appreciate your time. Gary, always lovely having you join us. Thank you so much for all this
Thank you, Kelly.
information.
You're so gracious, and next time hook me off the stage when I'm going so far over. Sorry, everybody. Have a great week.
No problem. All right. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great day.
All right. Bye-bye.